Good morning, Live Ensemble. Love you guys. Good morning, Live Family. Almost as beautiful. I don't know which is more beautiful, actually. It's such a beautiful thing to stand here. Real quick, how many people are here for Live for the first time? Can you just raise your hand? Favorite parts of the Glide service. They had someone come up and talk about what Glide means to them and speak a bit about Glide in their life. And gosh, I've sat in that seat so many weeks and I've just been hesitant. I always wanted to come up and give my story or part of my story, but I've always been hesitant. And part of it is because a lot of times the folks who come up tell a story about alcohol recovery or drug recovery or sexual abuse, huge human tragedies and the movement through that. And for me, that's not been part of my reality. I'm not in alcohol recovery, I'm not in drug recovery, I didn't come from an abusive relationship. But I am still in recovery. And today I want to share take a quick moment and share with you all about my recovery. And talk to you a little bit about my story and the tremendous impact that Glide has had in making me, or helping to make me, into a full human being. I come from a codependent family. I don't know if everyone here knows what codependency means. I didn't know what it meant before I came to San Francisco. Codependency happens a lot of times with relationships. And what codependency, I think at its core is when another person you're in a relationship with makes you feel responsible for their happiness. And the issue with codependency, at least the issue that happened with me, is codependency interferes with a person's willingness to just feel love, because you believe that you have to do in order to be loved. And for a person like myself, in addition to my background, I'm also a very intuitive and very sensitive person, and I can always feel when something feels right or when something doesn't feel right. And so as I was growing up in my family, I was always looking for that balance. When I was around 14, I found a Christian youth group that I joined, and I joined it because I knew that what was happening to me was that I could feel that I wasn't living an authentic life. And I thought that if I joined this Christian organization, it would rescue me. And what ended up happening was, instead of rescuing me, it reinforced that role. It reinforced this actor that wasn't an authentic being. And I stayed in that organization for about 7 years. At the end of that 7 years, I walked out. I was so angry. I said, I will never attend a Christian or a church organization. It's just not for me. And I decided that I was going to go to San Francisco to get away from it all. And I thought, San Francisco, that's my city. She'll rescue me. And for those of you who are doing the kind of work that I'm doing, which is try to get as close as you can to your authentic self, you realize that if you run away from something, the only thing you're really running away from are your excuses. And what ended up happening was I lost my excuse that my family was gone. My family was in Ohio, and the Christian OH! My family was in Ohio, and the Christian youth group was back, but I still felt really unhappy. So I decided to take ownership of it, and I started going to therapy. And while I was in therapy, my therapist said to me one day, she said, Elliot, you keep talking about wanting to connect with authentic human beings. Have you ever thought about Glide? I'm like, that sounds cool. What's Glide? She said, Glide is a Christian church. And I said, hell no. But I learned a little bit more, and part of the reason I thought about coming to Glide was I actually had done some work. The company I worked for, we had done a volunteer organization, we had done a volunteer group, and we worked downstairs and fed the homeless. And I remember being just a really uplifting experience. So I decided to come. So I came in those doors, I sat up in the balcony on the way back, just in case people started throwing Bibles and I had to duck out real quick. And I remember the music came on, and these people, you all are amazing. Amazing. And they brought such life to the music, and then after the music came the speaker, and that's when I started grabbing my bag and I said, said, okay, this is when it happens, this is when it drops. And the speaker's name was Cecil Williams. Cecil has become one of my personal heroes. And I remember Cecil standing up in front of everyone and I kept waiting for him to talk about Jesus, or talk about God, or talk about Christianity, but he didn't. The only thing he talked about the whole time was individuality and people, or as Cecil would say, the people. And, you know, right? And he gave this amazing presentation about how we as individuals need to look out for ourselves now, not to let anyone tell you who you are. And all of a sudden I realized that it was the first time that I'd ever been to an organization where they wanted me to succeed not because it was something that impacted them, but they wanted me to succeed because it was the right thing for me. And all of a sudden I realized that this organization wasn't connecting with me in my codependency, but it was connecting with me in a place of unconditional love. And the beautiful thing about life, the beautiful thing about Glide, I came here when I first started coming 2 years ago. I thought Glide would rescue me as well. But Glide doesn't rescue people. Glide exists to empower people who want to participate in their own rescue.
Yeah.
And that's what it's done for me. As I've found my channels and so many of my friends have come, and as I've found the people and the places that have helped me kind of develop myself as an individual, as an artist, as an intuitive being, as a man, Glide's been really important to me. But one thing I want to say before I go and that'll be it is, when you give money to Glide, you know, I've gone to church before, you give money to Glide, you never know what happens. And I just want to say this, Glide isn't taking money to buy new lights, or to put new doorknobs, or to buy Pastor Guest a new suit. Glide is collecting money to feed people, or to support one of over 90 programs that Glide offers people who aren't yet at that place where they can be in their own rescue. I like to think of Glide as the intermediary between myself and me. And that Glide, the organization, can glide into the lives of the people who need help when I die. And that's the kind